Discounty has been everywhere. Everywhere that I click, I hear about this game. Every person that I watch streaming or make content has talked about this game. So let me talk to you about Discounty in this review to help you decide whether or not this game is for you. Welcome back to Cozybichota. My name is Natalia, and today we're going to break down Discounty and talk about the game as a whole to see if you want to try out this management game. First of all, thank you so much to the teams working with Crinkle Cut Games for sending me over a key. This game was gifted to me. I was really anticipating playing this game and had a hard time deciding between getting the Switch version or the PC version, and even the physical version for the Switch, as I do like to collect games, and being able to play this game has been really enjoyable. I do want to be super transparent that even when games are gifted to me or I get to check them out early, I still want to be really honest about the way that I feel about it and break down the games to help you decide whether or not the different aspects of it are for you or not. I do want to start off that I'm really glad that I got the PC version because it runs beautifully on the Steam Deck. It's Steam Deck verified, but being able to sit at my PC or even hook up a keyboard to my Steam Deck and use the number pad makes me feel like I am super authentic at the cash register pressing all those number keys. So that has been probably the highlight of me playing this game. Aside from other aspects of it, I just love the number pad and just clicking in those numbers and the enter button. It has been so enjoyable. I do want to start off by reading the description of the game so you can understand what type of management life sim with RPG elements this game is. Manage your own discount supermarket, get caught up in small town drama, organize and plan your shop's layout, and strike lucrative trade deals as you expand your secretive aunt's business empire. Selling more frozen fries will surely heal this broken community, right? I do want to start off by saying that I haven't beat the game yet, but I do have over 10 hours at this point, so that does help me put together a first impressions review to help you decide whether or not this game is worth it after 10 hours and if you want to get it yourself. As with my review videos, I'm going to be dividing it up into different sections, and the first one that I want to talk about is the art style and music. If you've been here at the channel for some time now, you'll know that pixel art style games are my favorite. I'm an absolute sucker for them. It is a comfort for me. I enjoy the pixelated style. I love that you can do very vibrant colors, very neutral colors, a mixture of both, and this game has that. I also really love the way that the characters bounce in this game when they're idle. It gives it a very realistic feel to them, like they're breathing or they're just like kind of bouncing around in place, which is very similar to Eastward, and I adore Eastward's style overall and the game just overall. There's also a bunch of options in the customization for you to choose from, so there is some diversity, as well as the NPCs being pretty diverse as well. I will always say that I do wish that there were more hair options when it comes to curly hair. I know it can be really hard to render up curly hair, but curly hair options are always a must for me. I really wish that there were more, making longer versions, shorter versions, picked up versions, anything. The music is really catchy in this game. I have not gotten tired of listening to it. The soundtrack that plays is really well done, especially with different cutscenes. You can see the intensity and mystery when you're unlocking a particularly interesting cutscene with NPCs and feeling like, oh my goodness, what am I about to uncover? As well as just like the whimsical music in the store and as you're traveling through town. And the sounds are very consistent. The music is consistent. It's not too low. It's not too loud. You hear it throughout the game, and I love when music doesn't fade out or stop randomly. Also, I do love having that little itch scratched with sound effects. So if you have ever played Stardew and you hear the way the wooden chests are opened or you hit rocks in the mine, it is just so soothing, those little attention to details. And I love when you're ringing up customers or checking them out or packing things or putting things on display. Those little tiny sound effects are there, and it just makes the experience very immersive. Next, let's talk about the controls and the UI. I do have some criticisms, but there are also some things that are done really well with this game. I do want to start off by saying that the game does provide you, as you progress in the story, with the PDA, which is basically like a journal, and you can access it for different things, such as active quests or getting to know the different villagers and the map. But I do have a criticism with the map. Once you're inside of a building and you try to open the map, you can't. You have no signal. I don't know if later on in the game you unlock something that makes you able to use the map inside the buildings, but as of right now, where I am, it doesn't seem possible. I need to physically be outside the building and open the map in order to see where all the buildings are, as well as NPCs. I do like that it shows where NPCs are on the map in case you are looking to find them. However, if an NPC is inside of a particular building, they're not going to show up on the sidebar, which I don't really understand the inconsistency there. There are also some fast travel points you will unlock. I'm not going to ruin those since that's part of the storyline, which I find really helpful for getting around town and different areas a little bit faster. At the end of the day, when you're done selling, and after a few days of selling, you will start receiving like end of the day recaps. Who's been really happy with the purchases, who has been loving purchases, maybe somebody that left not so happy, how many items you've sold, how much money you've made, bonuses, but you can't skip it. So you are forced to watch the whole thing. And that's something that I wish there were an option to be able to click skip if I didn't feel like seeing the recap for that day. Also, where I'm at in the game, you can do trade deals, but the trade deals themselves, the items that you unlock from them, those items aren't labeled as an animal product or seafood or anything like that. And when you need to order more inventory, you have to do it from the computer in the shop, which makes sense. However, if you want to know the type of products that you have in the store, you have to go to that computer. You have to go into the order section of it to see what type of products they are. And those are labeled in different categories. Again, not sure if maybe later in the game you'll develop an app on the PDA where you can check and see the items that you have and what you've unlocked and the category of them, but that's where it falls behind a little bit. Some memorization needs to get done, and you can only access it when you're at the computer. And then the trade deal items, you can't tell what type of product they are from the computer because you can only get them from the person that you're making the deal with. So those are some areas where a little bit of memorization kind of takes place. In terms of the controls, this game runs well both with the controller and with keyboard and mouse. I love using keyboard and mouse just because I love using my number pad, but when I have played it on my Steam Deck, which does run beautifully on the Steam Deck, or when I have played it with a controller, being able to check out people is not difficult. It's not super intuitive at first, and it just takes a little bit of getting used to holding down certain buttons and clicking. But once you've got that down, the game is perfectly fine to play with the controller. So don't deter that from getting it on the Switch if you wanted to get it on the Switch. I love that you can pin tasks. So if you go into your quests in the PDA, you can pin them. They will show up on the screen if you want them to show up on the screen. You can easily track which ones you're doing, and that is such a nice UI feature because sometimes you get too many quests and you don't know which one you're doing next, or you have to constantly log into your journal or your PDA in this case and check what the quest is. It's just nice to be able to have it on screen and toggle it on and off if you want, as well as being able to see all the previous quests that you have completed. And my other favorite part about this game is that the tutorials are very well done. They're detailed, they're straightforward, and you will not be able to move forward until you complete something. So it's really nice to make sure that the player understands what they're doing. Now let's get into the biggest part of this game, which is the managing of the store. You are playing a management game after all, and in this one, you are in charge of running your own discount store. And so let's talk about the mechanics behind it. Like I mentioned before with the controls and UI, they do such a good job of walking you through how to manage your store with tutorials and giving you tasks to complete before you move on to the next task to understand the next step of running your store. I think that's so well done. It shows that they really cared about making sure people understood the game. It's also not hard to organize the food in your store or order it or customize your store the way that you want to, which I really enjoy. You do have pretty limited pocket space at first, which you unlock more of, but opening boxes, grabbing items, restocking is very easy. Going to the cashier and checking people out is very easy. And there's even a catalog that you can have on screen or remove it off screen if you don't want it, to check item prices. So the more you play it, the more you get used to the prices and you start memorizing them. But it's so nice to have a catalog on screen if you want it, to look at the prices. And when you are checking out a particular item, it's gonna glow and like bounce on the screen to let you know that's the item that you're ringing up and here's the price for it. So it's just really nice, and it creates a bit more of a cozy experience than feeling super flustered trying to figure out how much an item is. The pace does pick up. The store is gonna get bigger. You are gonna get more customers, more items to be managing, but it's not to a point where I don't feel comfortable playing and I'm stressed out, if that makes sense. So normally with management sims, I get really stressed out when there's too much going on, too much movement, too many people to worry about, too many things to check out or order or prepare. And this one does expand, but the types of upgrades you can get, such as getting bigger containers or make the layout easier for you to get around, does not make this game feel very stressful. And although there's math involved, you do have the catalog there, and you can't check out a person until you get the dollar amount right. So it's nice because it doesn't let you make a mistake. I love upgrading the store. It's something to look forward to. I love customizing it as well, and being able to buy different wallpaper, items to put on the floor, such as plants or chairs or crystals, or changing the flooring itself as well. Those are things that make the game customizable to you, and just the store feels part of like what you want the experience to look like. As the store expands, you learn the ins and outs of loaning from a bank and the mechanics behind that, which I find really, really attentive to detail, because it's very much like real life and needing to get loans from banks and expanding and what it's like to run a business. So that I really enjoyed too. Striking up trade deals teaches you to work on a schedule, as certain items from certain dealers will not be available until certain days of the week when they restock. So if you purchase a bunch of items right away and they don't have any more for restock until maybe Friday of that week, it helps you plan accordingly to how many items you want to be selling and how quickly you want to sell through them, or when you need to go and get another item, as well as unlocking more things with the trade dealer themselves and perks with them. Customers also show you what they're looking for when you come into the shop, which is really nice to make sure you have enough numbers of everything. And if a customer happens to buy something that they weren't even intending to get, it just shows you how they were interested because of the buffs that you use and the layout that you have. So at the end of the day, it's really, really enjoyable to see and very satisfying that you were able to sell items that they didn't even come in for and get bonus for it. And now let's talk about the plot. Aside from managing the store, what is this mystery plot that's going on in this game? The mystery of this game is what draws you in aside from managing it. So rather than it being a regular management game, you've also got relationships to develop with the townspeople and the lore behind the town and the people itself. You're gonna see rivalries, you're gonna see some mysteries, and it's just really captivating. And I think it's a really good balance of the two things to keep you wanting to keep playing the game, instead of just sitting down and being like, I'm gonna run my store for the day, that's my gameplay and I'm done. No, you're gonna be running your store, but you're also gonna be getting to know the story even more in depth. I also love the interactions with the different NPCs. There have been a few times where maybe I've gotten some repeated dialogue, but it's been pretty diverse. And I feel like I'm getting chisme, a little bit of gossip every time I'm talking to one of them, and it makes me feel like a part of the town. As of right now, I don't think there's any romancing in the game, even though Elmer keeps asking me about romance. So I don't know if that's gonna allude to it at some point, but that also just adds to his character. You don't gift items to NPCs in the traditional way that you would in farming sims. Instead, you are doing cutscenes with them, and each cutscene is very, very well thought out. You learn a lot more about the character and the story itself. And there were times in the games where you'll see different items or different locations were highlighted, which would trigger a cutscene. I do want to know if you've got any conspiracy theories, especially around Aunt Teller. So if you have any, let me know in the comments down below, as I have a few pertaining to her. Now, what are my overall thoughts? If you are someone who loves management games, then you're gonna enjoy this one. The management is so well done and thought out. You feel like you're running a real supermarket. You feel like you're really interacting beyond just a supermarket by going and talking to NPCs and striking up trade deals and working with the bank. You also have a very interesting mystery plot developing with the game at the same time, which adds to it. You won't enjoy this game, however, if romance is really important to you, if gifting is really important to you, if farming is important to you. This game isn't about that. It's about managing a store. It's about getting to know the lore behind what this town is all about and what's going on. It's definitely one of those games that makes me play one more day. And I keep telling myself just one more day. And it ends up being a week's worth of days that I've played. It does really draw you in and you feel like you've been sucked into another day worth of playing. I think this game is a fresh take on store management games with a lot of character and a lot of story to it. So those are the reasons why I think it's worth getting. I do think it's worth getting on the PC. If you want to enjoy checking people out, I do think it runs very well on the Steam Deck as well. If you have one and want to play a console, I've heard that it runs really well on the Switch as well. My only criticism with the Switch, however, is if you want to get the physical copy, it is about double the price. So I believe the game's base price is about $20 and the physical Switch copy is $35. So that's something to take into consideration when looking into the prices and whether or not you want to add this as a game to collect. Down below, let me know your thoughts. Have you played this game? Have you seen gameplay footage of it? What do you think of Discounty? And if this video was helpful for you, please consider giving it a like. And for more cozy and gaming content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And from one bichota to another, stay cozy and see you next time. Adios!